What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to really plan, serve, and build during these times. But we have a lot of to talk about today, and hopefully getting you guys some help and some sanity during these times. Let's just talk about the bad news. All right, and let's just go straight into it. I have some notes, but the fact of the matter is things are drastically different than they were only 2 to 3 short weeks ago. We've essentially gone from one of the most booming economies to one of the most up and down economies, right? This makes it extremely tough for those of us who are leading with service, here to help people in either getting out of our day job or growing our online business to that 6 and 7 figure marks. And so this is a time where we have to really analyze where we're at, what our options are, and really start to think through what we can do, what's within our control, and how we can not necessarily capitalize, because that might be taken out of context. I'll only use that word with my paying members because I know where I'm coming from that. But how do we serve people and be a guiding light for them? How do we continue to show up for ourselves and for our business, for our families, for the people that are around us, without losing our composure, without potentially missing out on an opportunity to serve people who are out there needing it? And how do we just do that in hopefully the most ethical ways, and doing it to where we're able to continue to operate our business, continue to conquer our goals, and be helping others in the process. It is a scary time. It's especially scary if we're watching the news. Just a quick aside, and we're going to talk about this here today. If we are watching the news, probably a good idea to just minimize that, because no matter when we are watching the news, no matter how good things are in the world, the media will lead us to believe that it's always coming to an end, right? And we will always feel like the world kind of crashing down. And it's understandable because positive things don't necessarily keep attention as much as the scary things and the fear. And so if we own these media stations and we were operating from a money standpoint, we'd probably making some of the same decisions that they are as well. So the bad news is that the market has shifted. There's a huge change. These are up and down times right now, and that's just how things kind of are. And so we have to number one, accept that to begin with, and then we can actually start to figure out what are those next steps and what does this all look like, because things aren't going to come to a stop. The reality is, for everybody watching on Instagram or watching in the Profit and Freedom Free Facebook group, is that there are thousands of people right now who are paying attention and looking for that guiding light for the thing that you do and serve the world with. I know for some of you, you may not know what that thing you're here to serve with. And I know for many of you, you are going through a transition in your career right now, and with the thing that you might have been doing up until this point, or up until two or 3 weeks ago, and you are now trying to figure out what we do with that change of landscape. If that's you, I'm here for you. I feel for you. This is not the time, however, to stay still. This is not the time to disregard everything that's going on. It's not a time to play lightly. This is a time to double down, to focus, and to really analyze and take a look at what we can control, how we can bring those things to life, and how we can serve the people. Getting into the fear and getting into the fetal position and not asking the right questions and continuing to seek the answers is probably not going to benefit us, our families, our communities, or the world right now. And so the media and the powers at hand want for us to be in a certain frequency, in a certain wave, and it's our job and our duty to control what we can and to turn that around. So that's really the bad news. Now, the news might be or feel worse to you if you don't have clarity around what you can do right now in order to be serving the people that you're best here suited to serve. If you don't take a second to think about what the picture perfect scenario is with these new opportunities that are at hand, if you've lost your job, if you're going through a transition in your career, or you're trying to figure out what the next steps are for you, right? Especially those who are in a business, who are freelancing and maybe don't have a ton of cash flow coming in. And for those of you who have either lost your jobs or are on the brink of it, if things continue to go the way they are. So these aren't light topics, unfortunately, but for my online business people, for my community, for my people, this is a chance for us to really shine, to take all the things we've learned over the last 10 years, over the last 5 years, hell, over the last 90 days, and implement them to be here to serve and really come from the right place. Amongst all of the problems that we probably are all experiencing, I think it's best that we focus in on what we can control and what we can do. And really that is coming from a place of service. It's having a plan and not acting out of scarcity. And it's really trying to double down and coming from a point of how can we help people during this, and how can we help the people that we're best suited for. So what's cool with you guys, I'd like to just dive into that here together today and just talk through it. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this now or in the future, if you've read a book called Outwitting the Devil. It's a book by Napoleon Hill. He also wrote Think and Grow Rich. Inside of the book, many takeaways. We won't get super deep into those here today, but one of the biggest takeaways I had was that with every seemingly bad thing that happens to us or around us lies the equivalent of something positive, of the seed of something positive. And so I'm not here to say in some very egotistical, narcissistical, or greedy way to take advantage of the opportunity. What I am saying is that there's a very unfortunate circumstances going on, and there is the equivalent of something positive laying inside of it for you watching this right now. And so we have to focus in on what that thing is and stay in the right mindset. And really that mindset is getting out of scarcity and doing what we can to right now. If we can get out of the scarcity, focus on what we can control, discover and find that opportunity and sift through, and then do something about it, and to not just sit on our hands. So that's the state of the union for online business owners. It's interesting. It's sketchy. It's my opinion personally that this will break probably a lot of people who don't do what we're going to talk about here in this call. And this will make people who, and businesses and success stories based upon all of which the thoughts and the energy in which you're leading from. And those things are within our control. That's the beautiful part here. We can't control anything going on in the news in the world, whether it is as extreme as it is, or it's not as extreme as others will say. It's the fact of the matter. And it's the situation that we're in. I'm sure everyone can agree with that. Regardless of the politics, regardless of the media, or any of that stuff. So let's talk about the mindset, and let's talk about the big mindset shift that we first need to really bring to life before we do anything else. And I know my personal freedom mentoring students will get this. I know a lot of my personal friends will get this, because we've talked about this at length over the last couple years. And that is, we have to immediately get in check of how much we're consuming versus how much we're creating. As entrepreneurs, our livelihood really banks on one thing, and that's the creation. And so what that does mean is that has to pull from somewhere else. And I think the biggest thing probably taking most people's attention right now is the consumption of fear type content and media, and consumption of news, and a lot of things of which we can't control. And so I think it's just super critical to just get in the mode of what we can control. And the first thing that we have to do is stop consuming as much. This flies in the face of a lot of the advice that I've given over the last couple of years of things like self-development and education. And while I think all of that important, I think there's nothing more important than action and creating something that can serve you, that can serve others, and that can serve the world. Because if we can find that Venn diagram, that overlap, it's where the magic happens. It's where the opportunity lies. It's where the service lies. And it's where the financial prosperity for you, for your family, and for everyone that you care about really lies inside of. And so if we can just shift out of the consumption mode of both media, of the BS on and time wasting activities on Netflix and YouTube, and turn that down. I'm not saying disconnect from everything. What I am saying is be aware and have a pulse on how much you're consuming versus your output. Are you creating things that can help you, that can help other people, that you can serve the world with, that you could potentially create a service or a program or a course or some product of sorts around? It's all of these sort of questions that will really change the frequency in which we're in and put us on a track that really goes against where probably where they want us from this. Whether this whole incident was an accident or created, everyone's going to be using this as an opportunity and an agenda for themselves. It's important you have an agenda for yourself before the news media, politicians, and everybody else gets a hold of it, before the world gets a hold of it and really makes it happen. So we've talked about the bad news. We've talked about what's within our control, and that is consumption versus creation, and creating more than we are consuming and being aware of that. So maybe you've taken a couple of days off during this whole thing because maybe some of the people around you are, because they're just on a kind of an everlasting Saturday right now from their day job. If that's not you and not where you want to be, then we have to take a whole different set of actions in order to make that happen and to bring that to life. In order to do that, we have to really follow a couple certain things that I'm going to lay out for you guys here over the next couple minutes. And then we'll kind of recap and talk about what that might look like in your world and in your situation. And I, of course, want to open this up for anybody here or afterwards watching this in the Profit and Freedom Facebook group or over on Instagram to make sure that you guys have a place to get answers to those questions, whether that's here or afterwards, so we can make sure that we're doing everything we can to continue moving you along and keeping you in the right mindset and the right direction. It's super important here. So let's talk about like kind of what this roadmap looks like. And let's talk about what we can do and what these steps are. Really the first kind of glaring obstacle, whether you have a business already and it's growing, or you're in the planning stages, or maybe you're in that scarcity with a day job, is that we have to create a plan. We have to start thinking through what those steps are and how we can focus in on those and really just not only have a plan, but stay logical during this time. It is very easy because you probably have people around you who are super immersed in the media, in the mainstream media right now, and they're paying attention to all these things and it's controlling their vibe and their energy. It's probably impacting you. And so it's important that for everybody here to be the rock in their family, in their communities, and with their friends, and stay logical through this time. It's the only mindset and kind of energy direction that's really going to benefit anyone during this time. And so after we get logical and get grounded and start to focus in on what we can do, is the time to set a goal. Let's say this whole situation in the world right now is contrived and let's say it is blown out of proportion, which is one of the popular opinions right now. It's not necessarily mine. No matter what, every single company, business, politician, and left or right or center or any of that is going to use this as an opportunity to continue their message and to bring their whole thing to life. And so we have to know that and stay as grounded and logical as possible, and then set our own goal. If they're going to have their own goal, you need to have your own goal around this too. And so what that looks like is making sure we're aiming at the right goals. And for those of you here who are online business owners or aspiring online business owners, it's creating a monetary goal and a service goal. Both of those in my programs, I know from a lot of you guys being inside the program or being around it, know that those go hand in hand, and those are the keys into building the business. Is how do we set set the right goal, and how do we come from a place of service to be helping people with it. So first we have to get grounded and logical and stay there. And I know it's hard right now. I know it's super tough. And the next thing we have to do is set a goal, and that needs to be a monetary and a service goal. If you are new to online business, earning your first $1,000 or $5,000 is a very wise goal to be aiming at. It's the milestones we have in the program. They're there for a reason. If you are already a freelancer, a course creator, an online business owner, it's probably making offers to people who you know that you can help and setting a revenue goal around that too. I'd say $5,000 to $10,000 right now is the best place to be aiming at if you have a course or a high ticket offer right now, or an idea or a service that you could be helping people with. So again, we just have to stay grounded, stay logical, come up with a plan, aim at the right goals, and just come from that place of service while we're navigating this whole time right now. So that's part number one of this, is just having a goal and staying grounded, aiming at those right monetary goals to both help you and your family during this time, and your community really, because of that ripple effect. Now, for some of you, whether you are in the first stage of you have lost a job, or you're kind of on the brink if things continue to go the way they are, if you're in fear of that, or if you have your online business already, maybe you have a course, maybe you have a freelance offer or a service offer that you're already doing. The big concern and the big problem here is I either don't have the perfect business model or idea, or I don't have the perfect setup yet to really make this work. And so we have to focus in on there. This will serve you far beyond this whole current state of the world, and only serves for you to help more people and to attract more prosperity and abundance into your life. So if you don't have the perfect business idea yet, or if your business isn't set up for this time, if it's caught you off guard, here's a couple things that I'm recommending that I'm doing in my business that I'm recommending to my students to do. Super relevant for those who are focused on this sort of thing right now. If you don't have a business yet, number one, we need to make a list of things that you can do and can serve the world with. From knowing many of you guys watching this on a personal basis, I know that you guys have a ton of things that you could serve the world with. Some of them are weird and strange, and some of them are also very common and expected. And so we first need to just get grounded and present, create a list of what those things are. And I challenge my existing online business owners and entrepreneurs to do the same. We need to make a list of all the things that we're good at and what we can serve the world with. And once we have that list, it's going to be filled with silly things. It's going to be filled with things that you know there's some money lying inside of, and some things that people are going to want. But the first part is just making that list. Part two is to ask yourself a very important question that's 3 parts. And you can put this in a spreadsheet, you can put this on a piece of paper and go through it. But it's kind of asking yourself, would I love to do this specific thing from this list every single day? Could people use this as a service? Like, would this serve the world? And then third, could I make money from it? It's my advice, and what we show our students in the program is to just stay as grounded and neutral as possible, because there's going to be some things on there that excite you, maybe things you've done in the past, maybe things you are hopeful for in the future. Whatever the situation, it's make the list and ask yourself those 3 questions. Would I love to do this every day? Could this serve the world, or could this serve one person? Is an even better way of narrowing that down to get the answer, the yes or no. And could I make money from it? And if we meet all of that criteria, and this is the same for if you're a coach, a course creator, or a freelancer, or an online entrepreneur, it's what offers do I have for my people, and which one of them makes the most sense to do right now, which is what we're talking through. And the last part of this for all of that group is ranking 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, however many items were there and made it through that criteria for what you're wanting to do next, or for what service you could provide, or what product or service you can make next, and finding which is number 1. Which of those things is exciting you, that you would love to do every day, that could serve other people, and that can make you money. And that thought process and that question, you may have to do that a couple times if this is new to you, or if you haven't done this in your business in a while. That's going to allow for you to spot the opportunity and what that next step is for you. So it's a little bit of a pivot, guys. And it's a little bit of changing and massaging the things that we're doing right now to fit them into the times that we're currently in. I know how crazy they are and how crazy it feels. So once we do those things, the next step for everyone on this is to really master and understand how do we go out into the world and into the marketplace and bring this to life, and do it in such a way where if you have recently lost a job, or you're in scarcity of it, or the cash flow has diminished, what can we do to amp that back up in a non-greedy, service-based, heart-led kind of way that is a win for you, for your potential client or customer, and for the world, hopefully too. And so what that really means is the problem is that you probably either don't know how to sell, or you don't know how to sell without being salesy, or you have no process right now for attracting more people in, or you don't know what to send to your audience in order to get them talking with you about how you might be able to help them. So that's the problem. The solution for this is, number 1 is, if you don't have a high ticket offer, we need to get cracking on what your high ticket offer is. If you are an online course creator, if you've created other info style products or things like that, then there's a simple adjustment that you can make typically into there to really make it into a high ticket offer. And I'd love to chat with you one-on-one just to help and be of service for you to figure out what that thing is, and to map out what that kind of path looks like. But we need to have a high ticket offer. If you're a freelancer, you already have that. It just needs to be molded into something to fit the times that we're in. Because let's be honest, guys, if we're sharing the same message that we were sharing 3 or 4 weeks ago, that's no longer sensitive to the current state of the world and the current mindset that our market and that our people around us and online are going through. And so it's critical that we take that into account, and that we're sensitive to that, so that we're sharing the right message and coming from the right place. Because it's easy right now to come across as greedy and insensitive, given what is going on, and just the current state of things. And so we have to create our high ticket offer, and we have to create the right message that's sensitive to the times right now, and that enters the conversation going on in our market's mind. One of my coaches expressed to me that, a couple weeks ago, everyone was selling and buying the yacht. And right now people are they need the life raft. And so we need to take that into account as we're making our message, and understand what's the new hell and the new heaven that our audience is currently in and wanting to experience. What's their current reality, and what is a desired future? Because that desired future may not be the big, thriving, successful thing now. It might be just making it through this month, just making it through this week. And so we just have to keep that in mind. We have to be sensitive to that. The last part of this, and this applies whether you're in your day job, you have a freelance offer, or you're an online course creator, or you're doing some coaching right now, maybe selling by the session, or if you're already doing leveraged coaching and you already have a thriving online business with funnels and all of those things. And that is to understand the balance and the right path for both giving value, and talking about what you can do, why it's important that your people do that right now and follow that advice. And then what does the process and questions and verbiage look like for making offers and inviting people to take those next steps, or to at least explore what's there. Because when we get that balance right through this time right now, And afterwards, it stands to serve you and to grow some really cool opportunities for you, both financially and what the opportunities you now have because of those finances. And so if we don't have a high ticket offer yet, we need to take what we currently have and turn it into one and pivot the way that we're positioning and selling it and offering it to people. Or we need to create our high ticket offer. It's as simple as that. If you don't take action on these things and you don't implement this mindset, you stand to unfortunately struggle through this time, and all of these opportunities are going to be whizzing by you. It's a different opportunity than it was a couple months ago or even 1 month ago. And so we have to be aware of that and play our cards and our hand accordingly. But if we can find the right balance between giving a value to the world and to our people and inviting people with the right questions, the right conversations, and with the right heart and mindset, you're going to have people who hop on with you and want to figure out a way to work with you. And there are strategies and conversations and very easy things that you can implement in order to make that happen and to kind of stay in that right vibration where you are calm, you're logical, you're grounded, and you're continuing to take action on what you can control. So if you've been watching the Netflix and eating popcorn and M&Ms, now's the time to start to turn that off and start to get into action mode. If you're already a freelancer, or you've now kind of become a freelancer, or have become unemployed because of the state of the economy, now's the time to take action. If you've been loathing, if you've been kind of sulking in that time, if you've been allowing people around you to be soft with you, now's the time to take all that energy back and to level it up and to find a way to serve other people. Because in doing that lies all of the answers to all of the problems you're experiencing right now, whether we've voiced them or talked about them or touched on them today, and to really actually making something different and making the opposite happen for you. I hope this has served you for where you're at in your journey. If you're watching this in the future, leave a comment and just let us know kind of how things are going right now. You're probably looking back at this as a couple years from now and saying, wow, that was a crazy time. And so if you have had all of this stuff on your mind, send me a DM and just check in and just talk about kind of what the situation is that you're going through and kind of where you're wanting to be. I'm rolling out a couple new, hey, thanks bro, I appreciate that. I'm rolling out a couple new financing options to really help people who are in need. And I'm open to exploring together what that might look like for you versus the normal scenario that we've done in personal freedom mentoring, because I've been in a situation like this previously financially. And I honestly had someone who bent over backwards to help me, and that got me to where I'm at. And so this is a small way that I can pay it forward. This is a small way I can take what I feel is my God-given purpose and soul-guided service to the world, and hopefully help you in one conversation or potentially in more if this is something that is extremely important to you and super top of mind. And if you're ready to take action on it, if you're not ready to take action, I'm probably not the person for you. This is probably not the group or group of people for you. But if you're ready to take action, take your energy back and level it up and capitalize on this in the best way, in the most service and heart-based way, then I invite you to just shoot me over a DM and let's just talk about where you're at, where you want to be. And let's see if there is a fit. And if not, it's completely cool. But I hope that this kind of state of the union of an online business owner and kind of what freedom is looking like has served you. If it did, hit me up in the DM, let me know that it did. And if you're on Instagram and watching this and not in the Profit and Freedom group, we do these every single week. We get super logical and super transparent about what things are going on to get you an action plan to keep you going, to get you past that $1,500 and $10,000 marks. So thank you guys for watching this. I know we had to talk about some super harsh, bad news at the beginning of this call. I hope that by the end of it, you've left with some hope and with some energy to actually go and level up on this and to take advantage of it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys around on the story and in the DM, sending you much love and light, knowing in my heart that you're going to do the right thing, take action on this, and not just sit on your hands and let this flow by. So thank you guys for watching on Instagram. I appreciate you guys, Profit and Freedom folks. Appreciate you and my personal freedom students who are here. Let's keep that momentum going, and let's take advantage of this and control what we can. All right, guys, thanks so much.